In step 26 of this Institute of Practical Learning course on self-awareness, we talk about the balance between your needs and your wants and where your time goes, and also your security and how much of society has a vested interest in making you feel anxious and insecure because that makes you effectively a softer target.
Because if you simply want to learn, your likely score is going to be down here. Your internal scoring of wants is low. And so what we need to do is think about how to make those wants more important. Your wants, how to make them more important. Now, one thing they do in some societies is at the change of the year, people make what's called New Year's resolutions. They say, this year, and we're in 2019 or whatever, let's say back at the beginning of this year, I made a New Year's resolution that I wanted to do something. Maybe, lose a few pounds. You can see I could do with that. Or, any other activity. What I would have done when I made that New Year's resolution is temporarily, I would have put that down as a want, and I might have somehow, through a thing called willpower, such as it is, I might have said, right, I really want to do this. So I might have kind of put my resolutions, I may have kind of given them +2 out of 10, which might have helped that resolution get up to the necessary threshold in order to become passed through into my conscious and unconscious mind. So the point to grasp here is how important are your wants to you in relation to your needs and what you have to do in your life. I'm going to pause just there. So what we're coming on to is the next question. Is it about an important need? So the guard on the gate sees the input and basically says, is it about an important need? And if it is, it will probably actually, this is the first one that actually probably does go into your conscious mind. Now, your conscious mind is going to apply extra tests and do things. So we're at question number 5. Now, I want to get to the next 4 questions. And I said to you at the very beginning of this, it's going to be about motivation. So remember, what we're trying to do is decide what kind of scores these different inputs typically have. So this general area is called motivators or motivations. There's an awful lot of stuff on the web, on YouTube and so on, about motivations. I've done a couple of video sessions with Corbin about Hertzberg and Maslow and so on. There's a lot of business management theory about motivation. There's an unlimited amount of it. And I don't propose to cover it in any detail because you can read it there. But basically, there are 4 main motivators. One is about security. The test, the question, number 6, is it about remember the guard represents all of you, your mental, he's the guard on your mental force fortress. So is this going to be about my safety / security? And the answer may be, it is kind of about your safety and security, but depending on what the nature of the input is, if it's like, yes, it certainly is, you're driving your car, there's a very large lorry coming straight at you, the suggestion to your mind is, this is really about your safety and security, you better do something. So if it has a high priority score, as it comes in, remember we've got our scoring system here from 0 to 10. Depending on the nature of the situation, maybe it's an emergency, maybe it isn't, maybe it's kind of like, well, this could be about your safety. It's a suggestion about your safety. Maybe you'd like to take some action on it. It'll have an appropriate score. And that might be to do with the source of the information. If it's a hot stove providing the information, then yeah, it's a high priority and you've got to take action. But let's say, let's say it's an advert on television, and you're sitting there watching TV, and suddenly this guy pops up in front of you and says, "Are you frightened of being burgled? Do you feel you don't when you wake up in the morning, you feel wobbly, or going down the gruesome end, is there blood in your urine or something like that?" Then you think, yeah, that's pretty important. Or no, it's not important. I'm glad to say I don't have blood in my urine. Sorry about this, but my life's full of this kind of stuff. So according to what it is, it's given a score. And usually this safety stuff is given a score between 5 and 10. It's kind of, safety is important for most people's motivation. So it pretty well, anything to do with your safety and security, it has an advantage. It comes with a score of +5 almost straight away. Now, the people who produce those adverts, they know that. That's why the advert actually pitches itself about your security. Now, the other aspect of it is when they design those adverts, they also try and build a brand. They try and build a reputation. So the guy who's doing the advert, who's got maybe a white coat on, and behind him there's all kind of medical stuff and Red Cross and all the malarkey like that, all trying to build the credibility of what they're trying to sell you. So it might be you really need to sign up now for XYZ insurance company because there's going to be a flu epidemic and it's happening and it could kill you. So buy this anti-flu stuff, take these pills. Oh, so many different adverts for medication, especially in America, because in Europe, if you get sick, you can go to the doctor or the hospital. It costs you nothing. And if you know how to approach it properly, you'll certainly be seen within a few hours. And if it's a serious situation like triaging, you'll be seen within 10, 15 minutes. Okay, but in America, it's different. And so they've got to sell it to you. And the price is high, high, high. So it's got to come, the advert has to try and be a credible source about a known subject, flu. You're going to have heard of flu. And then they'll try and give you a fact about it. Did you know that last year, 100,000 people died of flu? And they needn't have done. If only they'd taken this pill, they wouldn't have died. So that's trying to up the score of this safety motivator. So they'll try, +1 because the background looks good, plus another one because the guy's got the white coat, plus another one for something else. What they're trying to do is desperately push up the importance of this input to you so they get above the threshold of where you're going to let it through into your mind. And let's say that threshold is 7. Now, for older people and more vulnerable people, that threshold may not be as high as 7. They may be sitting there and they're pretty worried about their health. So they may be about there. And it may only be, 6. So rubbish. I haven't drawn this scale as brilliantly as I could. But so there's a good chance if they just, they got the background right, they've got the message right, there's a good chance there are quite a lot of old people who are feeling anxious will buy that stuff. So here's another thing. If the society that you live in makes a lot of money, if there are a lot of companies that make a lot of money about keeping you in a state of anxiety and insecurity, it's going to be easier for companies, for example, or medical services and so on. If you're already anxious and you're already insecure, this stuff could come in to you with a lower and lower input, and you're going to pass it through into your conscious mind and you're going to act on it. So companies really work hard at building their identity with a known source. Now, it may not be a medication, it could be a food, it could be anything, it could be a brand of a car or whatever. So, you know, certain types of car like Ford or let's say Tesla. Tesla's, well, it's an amazing car. They're all over the place here in Santa Cruz. You hardly see any of them at all in Europe. But so they work hard to build that brand, and you'll see the advert. Very often they don't even bother to advertise because they've already got such a strong brand. Okay, so I'm going to pause again. But so question 6 is plays to one of your motivations, which is about safety.
Question 5 is about your needs and your wants. How highly do you score your wants? Think of 3 things that you want in the short, medium and long term. Write them down in your life book and think, what kind of scores are you giving them in your subconscious mind? Are you scoring them high enough? And question 6 is about your security. Think about how the world around you at the moment tries in some ways to make you feel insecure. But what's the reality of your life at the moment? Do you know where your next meal is coming from? Do you have a roof over your head where you can sleep safely? Do you have people around you that are friends or love you even and will protect you? Do you have any real anxieties about your security? Or are you just letting the outside commercial interests and political interests make you feel insecure when the reality is you're having a pretty good life, especially if you have good health?